Well, welcome to a bright blue and sunny day at Indianapolis with a full field, 33 IndyCars in front, which are 2 wide, unfortunately not 3 wide, but it's a beautiful sight either way. This is NASCAR 2003 and an IndyCarified. It's my dedicated IndyCar install of it, and I've been having too much fun with this week. So we're set to do a quarter distance, 50-lap Indy 500. And it's been entertaining, to say the least. We'll see if I can make it through some of the chaos and pass a few cars along the way, and try to come out with a good position at the finish. But we'll see what I can do. Green flag is out. Simona De Silvestro in front, driving that Lotus-powered car. See if it all sorts out here. 2 and 3 wide, coming down to the first corner. Just stay nice in a line. Everybody's nice and easy making it through. Michelle Jourdain on the outside there in 30 cars. The 2012 IndyCars with the DW12, of course. And it's been stretching my memory to try to remember everybody that drove in 2012, but get it up to 6th gear. Why 2012? Well, I think this is one of the nicer IndyCar mods for NASCAR 2003. It just feels very complete, and it's one that's a lot of fun. It's fun to relive older seasons. People do it all the time with NASCAR. Why not with some IndyCar? It doesn't always have to be the newest of new. As Michelle Jourdain wags side to side. We'll get up the inside of him, though, and come and complete that first lap. We've all made it, luckily, but lift off on the inside, coming into turn 1. De Silvestro gives me a little bit of space, but Michelle Jourdain going to come back around the outside maybe. I'll be pinched down through 2. He's going to have the momentum, too, to do it. All right, drop back in. You got to get that pass done before the corner and actually make it work. The field stretches out. I think we've avoided some of the first lap chaos stuff that can happen sometimes. It should get nice and strung out as we go. I've been tweaking this for years to try to do some convincing IndyCar racing, and I've done a couple videos in the past. Is Jourdain there on the outside, but never at Indianapolis itself. We'll come on the inside again, try to give it a bit more throttle there through the corner. All right, I'm clear of him. We'll just try to carry the speed through 2. I was still tight on the entrance, but I'll take up the full track on the exit. I think I've got the pass done. Where is Michelle Jourdain gone these days? This might have been one of his last races. It's the last one I remember him in. Perhaps he did more after that, but it was definitely a feature in my mind of the late Champ Car years. I always think of him. All right, but De Silvestro in front. So this is the 2012 set, and she's driving the unfortunate Lotus-powered entry, which, if you remember, 2012 was a very exciting year for IndyCar. Not just the 500, which ended up being a classic, of course. We'll talk more about that, but coming into 2012, there was to be 3 engine suppliers with this new car, and a lot of folks hated the look of it. I did not like it myself on the street and road circuits, but on the ovals, I didn't mind the bumpers on the rear. Somebody runs a bit wide through 4 or 3 here. We've got Brian Clausen on the outside. I think this was his first 500. Pretty sure he never did one in the old car, but we'll easily get him. He's out wide. So the snake is now fully formed, and I got a great run on De Silvestro here. Come up the inside. Don't want to lose the pack in front. Definitely a lot of drafting to happen here. Come around the inside, right to the white line, and sneak in now behind, I think, Saavedra. Sebastian Saavedra. It's all these names. You don't think, or at least I don't think 2012 was that long ago, but I guess it was over a decade now. My God. Over a decade. And a lot of folks complain because this is kind of the first version of the modern IndyCar. It's evolved a lot. It's very unfair, in my opinion, to call the current car the same as the 2012. But the core chassis is the same these days. Saavedra's going to pinch me there. Go off the throttle, sliding behind him. You got to set up your passes into turns 1 and 3 at Indy. But first year of the car, and we were all so amazed by the racing at Indianapolis. And this, in my opinion, is not super far off. So like I said, I've been tweaking this for years to try to make a convincing IndyCar game or sim out of NASCAR 2003. And I think I've gotten fairly close with some of the different settings. Saavedra wide there. The cars race somewhere between stock cars and Indy cars. They're not quite all the way there, but it's entertaining, and I just always have so much fun in this sim. You can control everything in NASCAR 2003, and that's one of the things I think that scares people or makes it frustrating for some, but then others, if you like tweaking things and want to learn how to do all that, then you can kind of make it do whatever you want. You can really stretch the simulation, as they say. But this is the DW12 mod from Smith's Den. And the car set itself is from JC23. It's got another Lotus in front. I think I've got Oriole Servia in that, although it would have been Jean Alesi in the 500. Very, very unfortunate that Jean Alesi's year of doing the 500 was in 2012 with the Lotus. Would have liked to have seen him do a proper go at it. But we'll come up to Alesi's car driven by Servia here. Really tight on the inside. Man, that is sketchy. Side by side still, coming through the short chute. Oh, he's going to come back around me as well. So tough to get that pass done on the inside. But when you install mods for NASCAR 2003, as most folks know, there's no physics changes, and by default these would use the Trans Am physics from 2003, so kind of like a sports car, muscle car type thing. And got a few tweaks on it here, but it's still somewhere between the Trans Am car and an Indy car. It's a bit lighter than the Trans Am car would be, a bit more slippery, but still doesn't drive exactly like an Indy car. But I don't really need it to have fun like this. I wish, of course, we could have something a bit more accurate, and I guess the obvious question would be, why don't you do iRacing? But it still doesn't feel quite the same. And you don't have full control in iRacing. And if you want to do the offline stuff, of course, online and actually competitive IndyCar type racing, I'd recommend pretty much anything else other than this. But for just pure fun, this is hard to beat. All right, get a nice run on Servia then, and might get Sato as well. There's Sato in the 15 Rahal car. Iconic car at this point, as we'll get pinched there by him. You would expect nothing less from Sato. Ultra aggressive, but we love him for it. All right, get through, get the pass done. But yeah, 2012, who could forget the finish with Sato trying to pass Franchitti? Made a million debates of should he, shouldn't he, should he have waited for turn 3? And I think you got to go for it. The no attack, no chance year, this is when it happened, 2012. Catherine Legg in front here. It's great to see her back. I'm excited to see how she does. When I'm recording this, it's a couple days before the Indy 500 this year, 2023. So don't know yet how Catherine Legg has fared. Made it out of a scary practice accident, of course, with Stephen Wilson. So got his brother in this race, Justin, racing for Dale Coyne. I'm sure he's up front somewhere. No clue if I'll catch up to him. But done the first 11 laps already. Man, it flies by. And we should have to pit at some point in this. Should be able to go about 33 laps. I've got it right on the money with how far you can stretch a tank of fuel and everything. So we'll definitely have to pit, and it's always a question of when do you pit. Seems like there can be more cautions and things that happen around the pit stop time than at other times during the race. So it'll be interesting to see if we actually make it there without a caution. I'm surprised we haven't had one so far. I've got the AI setups that they're as racy as I can make them without it being total chaos. And would love them to be able to pass even a bit better than they do. Definitely with the lap traffic. The perennial problem with NASCAR 2003 is that leaders get stuck behind a lapped car for 2 laps. But otherwise, I just very much enjoy this. I don't know why. And I was thinking a lot about why I enjoy this and what I would want out of an IndyCar game. To slip up the outside of Anna Beatrice. It's all the drivers you forget about. At least I do. I'm around here quite easy. I was thinking about a lot of if we could possibly have an IndyCar game. It seems very unlikely at this point, but what would I want it to be? And I feel like I would want it to be a little more of that arcade. Not fully arcade. I want it to be realistic, but kind of like IndyCar Series 2005 was the last IndyCar game. Not a sim, but realistic. Something that's just fun and lets you experience all of the IndyCar races and everything. I think we have simulators which you can drive IndyCars in. It might be dividing my audience here because I know a lot of you are hardcore sim folks, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think there's just space for something that's a little more casual, and I think that's why I like this, because it's not trying, there's a lot of problems with it. It's a bit of a cobbled together rendition of what IndyCar might be like, but I feel like it's not too far off what an IndyCar sim from Papyrus in about 2003 would have looked like. So it's a lot of fun. We got Ed Carpenter in front. He's not doing too well. I'd expect him to be a little more up front. He's always very fast in these years, and then Fuzzy's vodka car, but slide around the outside of him as well, no problems.
All clear.
A little pack of cars in front. As the tires wear, it starts to get pretty tricky around traffic, especially just to make the passes. I think the AI might slow down a tad more than I do throughout the run, so I should have a shot at getting up front here. Maybe not all the way out front, but we'll see. I like having the high field spread, though. It's not super unrealistic. Get some really slow cars towards the back of the pack at Indy, and it feels, though, like every year it's getting tighter and tighter. And I feel like this year, easily half the pack could win the race. I wouldn't be surprised probably if 20 of the different drivers won. I would look at that and say, yeah, that's probably right. So it's one of the most open races, I feel like. Once you get into the race and you see the first stint and who's competitive, then you have a better idea who might actually have a shot. But going into it, it's wide open. And I think we all love it for that. So I mentioned pit stops, so we'll have to pit one time, and coming on and off the pit lane here is hard. This is a modern version of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or 2020 or so. It came out with the newer IndyCar mod. There is a 2020, an aero screen type IndyCar mod. I think I did a video with it once. And this track was made by that same group. As I get a bit low there and touch the curb, shoots me out wide. We're all right. And this is the one I've tweaked on for forever, so you could find something a bit more period accurate, I guess, for 2012, but it fits the bill for me. Very nice looking, but I do feel like it's slightly different than real life. The banking feels almost too much. Not sure. But the pit lane comes up so fast that I don't know if that's realistic or not. But you always hear about how hard it is to get stopped for pit lane, and it's definitely hard to slow down for pit lane in this. Very easy to break that speed limit and get yourself a penalty, so I'll have to try my best. Easier to do when you don't have cars around you, but if you're in a pack, it is hard to come to the pits at Indy. True to life, I guess. Just pulling up his pack in front of me now. I think I've got Sebastian Bourdais in front of me. I've always loved that paint scheme, the McAfee paint scheme, but it's more the chrome bits on it. This one was the silver and black. I think there are a few different versions of it over different seasons. I remember a gold one as well. Very John Player special, but with gold or silver, actual chrome looking. Very, very cool. Not enough metallic race cars, in my opinion. Get a bit understeery there. The tires are definitely starting to wear. It'd be tricky to get side by side with somebody. Dancing side to side. They follow a little bit too close. Bourdais scrapes the wall there ever so slightly. Trucks on with it. We've been seeing more and more of that. I feel like in practices and qualifyings, you see cars actually touch the wall and get away with it these days, which is unreal. Can't imagine the going into a corner after having hit a wall and hoping everything still works. We got a pack here in front. I think we're all behind a Dale Coyne car up there. Tricky to pick them all off. Just like in real life, it's tough to pass multiple cars when they're all packed up like this. And they're much, much closer than they would actually be, but to solve this like a puzzle. All right. A bit high through 4. Might carry some speed out of the front straightaway. And they're very much in the slipstream right now. It's really tough to get up to the rear end. We got J.R. Hildebrand in the 4 there, just 1 year after his devastating finish. But you have to look at that. I hope he can look at 2011 and him hitting the wall in the final corner on the final lap. Hope he can look at that and be all right with it, because Dan Weldon won. That's that's what kind of fixes it in my brain. So I have to imagine it helped him out as well. But man, what a devastating finish for him for that race. I can't remember how he did in 2012, but he never really got that close again, I don't think. Bourdais a bit slow there coming out of 4, but I had to check up as well. Right on his gearbox now, duck to the inside. I'll be able to get side by side with him, but I got much more worn tires than I did before. Coming to turn 1, off the throttle there, car's sliding up a bit. You just don't want to make contact in NASCAR 2003. Very much ends poorly. Keeps you a bit more clean than maybe even would have to be with it, but contact almost certainly would end in a spin of some kind, if not airborne. Alright, big checkup from him again in front. Just gets squeezed there, had to lift off ever so slightly. Come to the inside though. Much further ahead this time, coming down into the first corner, fade out just a little bit, take the corner a little less narrow. Get around Bourdais, alright. Bunch of cars in front. We got there in the 99. Might be Townsend Bell. Can't remember what car, if he was driving in 2012. But JC23, who's done this set of cars, and it's absolutely beautiful. It contains every race, every car and driver combination that raced in the entire season. And I've made my own set here that's slightly different than the Indy 500, but you could race the exact set of cars if you wanted to, side by side with Hildebrand now. But he's also done a bunch of other years. As Hildebrand squeezes me down low. If I'm not careful here, Bourdais is going to get back around as well. Really narrow into turn 2. He sneaks around me. All right. Well, if you can't make a move work out, you're going to be overtaken. That's not too far off. But yeah, if you wanted to race all the different DW12 years, even the Aero Kit ones, they've done sets for that. So you can race 2012 through, I think, 2017, and then there's the newer mod to race newer years if you want to do that. A lot of IndyCar fun to be had in NASCAR. 2003. The sim that keeps on giving. It's these two in front, almost making contact there. You would expect nothing less from Townsend if that's actually him. He was always so aggressive at Indianapolis. Rewatched 2016 actually the other day, and that's of course the 100th running. Very awesome race with Rossi winning, but Townsend Bell was either going to win or crash in that race, and he crashed. He was so aggressive the entire thing, and I remember every year he was like that. And I think almost every year he got in an accident of some kind. We'll get around him, if that is indeed Townsend Bell. All right, halfway then. Thank you, Chad. I got Chad Knaus on the radio. He's giving up his NASCAR duties to come over to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But transforming this sim with sound pack and the cars and a little physics tweak, it's a lot of fun. Come down into 3. Then we got Justin Wilson on the outside there, right against the wall. Side by side through the corner with Charlie Kimball. See if I can try the outside here, but it's so hard to carry a lot of speed around the outside. And actually, Townsend's going to have a shot at it to come back up the inside. No, that was a mistake on my part to give him the space to do that. I should know he would take the spot away. All right, back to where I started then. So I'm kind of topped out here at 22nd. But if I do everything on the pit stop right, I should be able to leapfrog a few cars. It's just the question of doing that. Pit stops are not easy. Carry a bunch of speed there, but I'm going to have the 19. I'm not sure if this was Wilson. I think Wilson was in the 18, so different driver in the 19s. Those two get so close. I thought we were going to see calamity there for a second. Go up the inside. James Jakes just came to me in my head. I think that's who drove the 19 car. That's a name I haven't thought of in many years. He's going to have a decent run down the back straightaway. I didn't quite get the move done there. Come down to turn 3, still side by side. Nobody in front of him, though. Just really send the car into the corner. There we go. Just getting clear of him through the short chute. in all, though, this drives, it's interesting. Like I said, it still feels a bit like a sports car. It's got a lot more roll in the chassis. I think chassis is the thing that folks haven't really figured out how to change in NASCAR 2003. There's a lot of, you can find different EXEs and things out there with every engine combination you could imagine and tweaks to aero and grip, but the chassis itself, it's just a barrage of numbers that nobody knows what they do. So, or nobody that I've ever run into knows what they do. So to make an actual Indy car, I think would take a lot more work. But it drives fun enough. It's definitely its own thing, but as you can see, it's entertaining. We get a run here again on Bell. The inside of him.
All clear.
It's always tricky when you enter the corner so narrow like that. The thing that's really missing from this and would be the icing on the cake would be actual in-car adjustments, because IndyCar oval racing is so much about tweaking your car as the run goes, but because this is NASCAR 2003, there's no such thing. Oh, as these group in front, I thought I saw some smoke there for a second. Maybe you have cars thinking about pitting right about starting to get to the pit window. It's going to be tricky being in a pack and doing it. But there were no in-car adjustments in NASCAR in this time period, so there's nothing you can change in the car, which is definitely a shame, because that is such an important part of IndyCar racing. Change the roll bars, and change the boost, and change the weight jacker, and everything. So you really just have your steering and tire wear, just maintaining tires and stuff. So it's kind of its own thing, but it's still, especially for smaller races, short races, just fun. And brainless fun. It's a good time. All right, we'll come through 3 and 4 though. Everybody's slowing up a bit. I think we might have some cars jumping down for the pits. Not yet. Nobody's on the pit lane yet. So it's all about slowing down. 65-mile-an-hour speed limit, and the cones for the actual speed limit are inside the pit wall, and move those. So it's a bit more like the Indy pit stops, but it feels like that wall comes up awful quick. And getting it slowed down is always a trick, especially with Townsend Bell right on your gearbox. He's telling me to dive in. I'm going to go in this time. Maybe it'd be a lap early from everybody else, but it's a good idea to hit alone if I can, but hopefully the caution won't come out. We won't get a penalty or anything like that. All right, so we'll come through turn 4, slow the car down a bit on the inside, get it down the gears, blocking up all the tires. All right, we'll try to get it down to 65. There we go. Much too slow. And we're the very first pit stall here, but I think I got it. I'll try to stop in the box without sliding through too much. All right.
Go.
And very frustratingly, I got some kind of penalty there coming into the pits, which has to be because something I did to the track, but I've lost a ton of time, and I don't even know if I'll be on the lead lap anymore, so we're going to be very much towards the back. It's going to be all about, can I pass any cars before the end of this thing? We'll come out of the pit lane. It's always tricky getting back onto the track at Indy. I'm gutted I got a penalty there, 30-second hold. Commitment line. It's something to do with the track. I've edited this track too much, probably, to try to make it more appropriate for Indy cars. I'm sure somebody in the chat or in the comments will know exactly what happened, but 30-second hold penalties, that's going to throw me way back in the pack. It's almost a lap. In 30th position now, get it up to 6th gears. We'll come into turn 3. New tires and full fuel. So we'll see, or as full as it needed to be to get to the end of the race. So we'll see where I sort out. But it's all for fun in the end. I think some of the cars at the back are very slow, so we should be able to at least stay ahead of them, but won't come out anywhere near 22nd where I came into the pits. We'll see how it all shakes out though. A couple cars fading back onto the track here. And I'll be surprised if we get through this without a yellow flag, but never say never. That's Alex Tagliani there, passing underneath him. That was another very cool-looking car. The car's still peeling off into the pits. The whole experience of it, I think NASCAR 2003 does an amazing job at the experience of a race. I don't know what exactly it is. It could be that you just have the full field of cars, but it's the fact that they all behave, correctly, and you can give them personalities and things. It just really makes it feel like you're taking part in a race, not just doing a quick race with some AI. Or at least it fools me enough. Another car in front. This might be Bourdais, so I still have some cars to pass here. That penalty absolutely killed my position and the shot at passing a few cars there. I think it did all right on the pit stop entry and everything, so it's definitely something wrong with the circuit. Right, a few cars packed up here. It's one of them. I remember Rubens Barrichello was in IndyCar in 2012. It was the only year he did it. I have to imagine he did not enjoy it as much as Tony Kanaan said he would. But I think that's him in front in the blue bumpers as Bourdais gets held up there. Try to capitalize on this momentum. Come through 4. There we go. On the low side. Whoa, almost making contact with Bourdais there. Got Joseph Newgarden holding him back. Gotta get both of them down the front stretch. Nothing to hold me back now. I gotta do every position I can whenever I can. Almost dirt tracking it up the inside. There we go. All right, get around Joseph there. Pass a couple cars at least. And there's Townsend Bell. So through the whole cycle, I think I've made out quite well. Despite the penalty. Maybe the penalty was just to even it out. Really blow past Townsend Bell. If he waited that long, maybe he was just out of grip. But no yellow flags through the pit stop cycle is absolutely shocking. But head down, we'll see if we can get to the end of the race. It's fun to do full races, but it can be fun to do sprint races. I like to do them with at least a pit stop. I think it's good to have, especially with oval racing, just something to shake it up in the middle of the race. So 50 laps seems to be somewhat of a sweet spot at Indy. Not too long that you're going to dedicate your whole evening to it, but short enough or long enough that you can have a pit stop and plenty of things happen throughout the race, especially with some yellow flags. You can pick if you're gonna pit or not. A few cars side by side in front that'll only help me catch them. Bright green car. I have to think that's Hinchcliffe or maybe Clausen. We'll see as I get up there. Watching back that 2016 500, I forgot how competitive James Hinchcliffe was in the car. He was proper quick at Indy, especially, and some of the ovals. Of course, he won Sao Paulo, amazing finish there one year. Classic over-under in the final corner. So he was a good driver, and he's great in the booth. But it always feels to me like he retired a bit early. But I have to imagine he's happy with his decision. Seems to be going quite well for him. So I think we've got Cunningham here, one of the slower cars. Not for position, I'd imagine. Although it looks like it actually is. Interesting. So he made out quite well during the pits. And I'm back up to, I guess this would be for 23rd. So things have worked out all right for me despite the penalty. We've got 10 laps to go. Imagine the leaders are not super far behind me. But a whole bunch of cars in front. We'll see how many I can pass here before the end. It's definitely Hinchcliffe in front now. The GoDaddy car. Feels like that sponsor suited him for whatever reason. Playful enough as I understeer so much there. Almost an arrow push, which I'm not sure would be modeled in this. Quick work of Hinch, and 2 cars in front of him. Oh, it might be Marco. Right, nice slipstream here down the front stretch, and I'm going to be a little bit too late to get him into turn 1. Held out right behind Hinch. Around. Try to get the inside. He's going to have a pretty decent run down the backstretch. quite enough time to get him. It's the thing you see in real life, and what makes it super frustrating for drivers is just you get the run too late. Is I might have been able to get underneath him there. Blocks the middle line. Getting towards the end of the race, I guess you would hold every position you can get. All right, nice run on Hinch then. Up the inside. It's going to squeeze me right down to the white line. There we go. Just hold your breath the whole time. All right, able to get Hinch though. Still quite tense passing cars, even if you're a lot faster than them. So this isn't, I feel, I struggled, I guess, or I thought about making a video about this a while back. I posted a quick clip on Twitter. I got a lot of questions about what is this, and it's always difficult to show stuff like this because I know a lot of folks want to know exactly how to do it, or where can I download it, and it's unfortunately not just something you can download unless I was to distribute my exact copy of NASCAR 2003, which I don't think would be legal to do. Definitely don't want the noise from that. So it's just one of those things. It's a lot of tweaking. I'll try to put some details about the different tracks and stuff, of course, other people's work that I'm using here, but it's just not a quick and simple thing that you can install. So it's always, I always want to do more videos and stuff like this, but I know I'll get the questions about how exactly to set it all up, and it's just not something that's easy to share in a way that I can help out every single person. Is I'll maybe get a run past Marco here. Oh man, I didn't expect to pass both those cars there. We'll get Marco through 2. He's gonna be able to hang it out there, still side by side, 2x2 through the entire corner. And Marco's got to run down the straight, come down to turn 3. Wheel to wheel. Just saw his wheel there for a second. We'll keep it tidy on the inside. Marco's going to have the run. Much sketchier than I'd like it to be here. Just a couple laps to go. 5. All right. 14's coming side by side with me again. It's Mike Conway, I think. Of course, now, these days, racing in World Endurance, I think he very much was done with IndyCar after he had his big wrecks, and I don't really blame him for that, although he's here racing 2012 as he gets very wide there, right against the wall. Nice run then on Conway again. He's going to weave side to side and back out of it. I don't know where he was going there, and he blows the corner anyway. Could have had him. It's a bit like high-speed chess racing an IndyCar, or something approximating an IndyCar. All right, right in the slipstream, jump up the inside, come across the line, 3 to go. So we'll come down into turn 1, side by side still. I just don't want to make contact. Get the heart rate going. Conway right against the wall again. He's going to be a bit slow here down the backstretch. Get a nice run on him, right down to the white line. Fighting for 21st position, but you would never know it as he hangs in there. Come on. It's so hard to get the pass done. It's so cool. I'm definitely faster than him, but I just can't get around him. It feels very authentic. All right, 2 to go. Can I get a top 20 out of this without throwing it all away? That's really the question. So we got a whole bunch of cars backing up to me. I have to imagine there's a few lapped cars in that. Falling back just a little bit off Conway this time. He's right on the back of Marco. Come down to turn 3. We're going to catch one of the slower cars here, I think, before the end, definitely. It might help me out, might hurt me. You just never know. Marco's going to try to go high, maybe not. It's pushed out wide. Oh, I'm going to go 3 wide. I don't know about that. Thought they might sweep down. I'm going to avoid that pit wall, do the old Elio, dodge the pit wall. All right, throw it into 1. Marco's out wide. On the final lap then. He's going to slide in between. I wasn't able to get underneath him. Got a car on the apron. One of the slower cars trying to get out of the way. All stream by on the high side. It's Clausen. All right, no problem. Come around him as we'll come down to turn 3. Marco's quite slow there. We got a slow car on the outside. This is where bad things happen at Indy as Michel Jourdain hits the wall there. Marco's on the apron. Run around the outside of him. There we go. Get at least one of them, but not going to be able to get that top 20 as we'll come to the line. Man, it feels like the race is just starting as you get into that. That's what the rest of it would be like, dodging traffic the entire time, and it kind of makes me want to do a longer distance one at some point. It's not the most realistic thing in the world, but I kind of love it for that. And long live NASCAR 2003. I don't think we'll be getting anything that unseats what this sim can do anytime soon. So I hope you enjoyed it. Some lighthearted fun. Very much looking forward to Indy this year, and I hope you are as well. So until next time, this is GP Laps, and I'll see you all later.